What's up, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy. Doing videos a little bit differently this year, where normally I would post about like 6 videos in the week, you know, Monday through Friday, 2 on Friday. But you know what, I was like thinking about, I was looking through the colorless cards and then the multicolored, and I was like, I have a lot to say about both of them, so I just split it into 2 videos and give you guys 2 videos on Thursday and then 2 videos on Friday. So I was like, you know what, whatever. I'm drinking my tea, I'm filming so many videos for my other channel too. I made a planning channel, which probably none of you will be interested in, but I plan my life and use stickers, and it's pretty great. But anyways, so I'm filming videos for that and for this, so I'm just like in a mood to just get a lot of YouTube videos out there. So, and you know, like I said, as I was looking through, I was like, you know what, I have a lot of stuff to say about these, and I don't want to like make one video that's like 30 minutes. I mean, let me know what you guys think. Like, let me know if you guys don't mind videos super long. I know everyone is like so different with their style and what they do. I don't mind longer YouTube videos, honestly, because a lot of times, like, what I'll do is I'll like be doing YouTube work or something like that, and then I'll have like a video on the side. I'll be like multitasking, and I don't mind if a video is 30 minutes long or 20 minutes long, because that means I don't have to change the video. I can just keep watching the video. But that's just me personally. So I'm splitting this up. I'm talking about multicolored stuff in this video, and I think multicolored stuff is actually really solid. I feel like as a whole, I just think this set is really good. I think it's a really good set for limited. I think is really strong, and the multicolored cards especially I think are really awesome. I'm gonna start talking about Ajani. Now, immediately, because I have a Super Friends deck, every single time there's a new Planeswalker, I'm like, oh, yo, can this go in Super Friends? You bet Ajani is going in Super Friends, but in a limited sense, Ajani is just amazing. I think he's going to see Standard play as well, definitely. I don't know anything about Standard, but it sounds like he'll be used in Standard. His first ability, you know, it's 6 mana, and I feel like, you know, with that 6 mana point, I feel like a lot of the stuff in this set seems to be really cheap mana-wise. It's just something that I've noticed looking at a lot of the cards. There didn't seem to be a lot of really overpriced cards, not as many that I feel like I have seen in the past. So Ajani is, you know, on the upper side, you know, he is a Planeswalker, so it makes sense. He comes with 4 loyalty, but you're going to immediately bump him up probably to 6. I mean, not necessarily, but if you do bump him up, he's going to have 6. You reveal the top 3 cards, you put all non-land permanents into your hand. This is massive card advantage. I think this is a really interesting sort of thing to have. This reminds me a lot of the other Ajani. Is it not Color of the Pride? It's the green-white one as well, but it reminds me a lot of this one where you reveal the top 4 and then you pick a Planeswalker, creature, or land, I think, from among them, and then you put that into your hand, but this is just better. At that point in the game, you probably don't need lands anyway, so the fact that you, like, have the chance of getting 3 cards into your hand is amazing card advantage, especially in green and white. I don't know, this is awesome. But it's not broken, you know, it's not like a super broken, like, dumb ability. I just think it's really good. His minus is really fantastic. Not only do you get to exile target creature, and then it's like a Swords to Plowshare effect, they get a little bit of life, but honestly, getting rid of someone's creature, and it's not destroy, it's exile. The fact that you're exiling someone's creature, they can't get it back, which is awesome. They gain a little bit of life, but guess what? You don't care. You're getting a really massive threat off the table. It turns out the life, the points, the life that they're gaining is probably not relevant for the fact that you're getting rid of their thing. I know a lot of people are very, like, anti-giving their opponent's life, which, I mean, totally makes sense because you're trying to do the opposite, but I think that getting something really threatening off the table is way better than, like, giving them 5 points of damage, like 5 points of life, let's be real here. And then the minus, I mean, let's be real here, I don't know if you're gonna quite get this minus off, but you know what? The 5 loyalty counters in each other Planeswalker you control is probably really not going to be very relevant in a limited sense. However, 5 counters on each creature you control is probably just the end of the game. The minus is just really amazing. Super broken and Super Friends, let's just talk about that. Oh man, guys, every time someone sees a Planeswalker, they're like, yo, are you gonna put this in your deck? I'm like, yeah, I am. So yeah, it's super, super strong, giving your creatures those, you know, the massive advantage, especially if you have, like, a couple of creatures. Definitely want to keep your creatures around. Yeah, you want to protect Ajani, but you want to make sure you keep some creatures around, because if you do get the minus off, you want it to be useful. So overall, I think all these abilities are massively relevant. Probably just one of the best cards in the set, hands down, in my opinion. Ajani is just super good. I just probably could have done a whole card focus talking just about Ajani. I probably will when I get him in Super Friends and see how he plays out, but he's probably just gonna be, like, broken and busted in AH. So, dude, like, that and, like, doubling season, I mean, that's just stupid. Okay. Next, other Planeswalker, we have Tezzeret the Schemer. So, this Tezzeret is artifact specific. So if you're not on that artifact strategy, I don't know how he's gonna really work out for you. Yeah, I think, like, that's, like, the one minus, I feel like, of Tezzeret. It's just that if you're not on that artifact strategy, I don't know, like, someone like Ajani is just gonna be good, like, regardless of what you're playing. It's just card advantage, exiling stuff, and then getting counters on all your dudes, which are gonna be running creatures, obviously. Tezzeret's, like, you need to be running artifacts for this card to really work. So, you know, mana for 5 loyalty is really solid. That's a really strong ability. His +1, you create a colorless artifact token where you can sack it to add 1 mana of your color to your pool. Not the best thing in the world, but I guess I like it. I mean, at that point, if you do get this early enough in the game and you need mana, it's pretty good. But you're leaving it vulnerable probably to, you know, scratch that thought, whatever. I don't know what I was saying. Then the minus, target creature gets +X minus X until end of turn, where X is the number of artifacts you control. I don't really know how I feel about this ability. I don't really think it's that strong, but it depends. It can be. I mean, the fact that it gets +X minus X, though, you have to be careful, because if you're giving it so much power, like, I feel like that ability, you can't use that all the time. The plus ability, you could use that, you know, anytime you want to get more mana dorks, and also to get, I just realized, you get an artifact token, but it doesn't have power and toughness, or is it just an artifact token? How does that work? That's weird. Anyways, but yeah, I think that ability is super weird, because what if you have, like, I don't know, 5 artifacts, for example, you give something +5, -5? I don't know, I just think it's weird. It's a weird sort of ability. Maybe it'll play better out then. I just don't think it's that great. I mean, I think the possibility is a little bit better. But then the -7, you get an emblem. Beginning of your combat, target artifact becomes an artifact creature with base power, toughness, 5/5. Now, this is what I think you really care about in the card. Having dudes to protect Tezzeret and then getting the ult off if you can. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. You just gotta kind of keep him alive for a little bit to get his thing. I think the first 2 abilities are pretty mediocre. I think the second is just really not that amazing. But, like most Planeswalkers, the ult is really devastating, and if you get this off, you know, probably going to be the end of the game, getting all these artifacts, but it's not relevant if you don't have artifacts around, so it's a weird sort of thing. Not my favorite card in the world, but I didn't want to talk about it, so Tezzeret. Next we have Oath of Ajani. Now, I understand that there are 2 parts to this ability, and one of them is really probably not going to be relevant for you, and that is Planeswalker spells cost 1 less to cast. Now, there's 2 Planeswalkers in the set, so you're just playing with the set, right? Oh, wait, hold up. Yo, is Kaladesh in this too? Is that how they're doing this, guys? I haven't played, like, draft limited in such a long time. So Kaladesh is in this too, and there are Planeswalkers in that. So, okay, and you have that 1 pack. But anyways, the chance of you realistically getting an Oath of Ajani and a Planeswalker is probably not crazy high, so that ability, the second, is not super relevant. However, the first ability is nuts, and the fact that you can probably blink this card with a couple of things too is amazing. So, and by the way, yes, for Super Friends, yes, absolutely. I'm so stoked. I need to get a foil one of these, preferably a foil promo, because I have all foil promos except for Jace is, like, Japanese foil. I should probably get a Jace promo foil so they all match, but I don't know. I just need a foil of this card. Anyways, so ETBs, you get a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. I really like this ability. I think in that white-green +1/+1 counter deck, I think this is just nuts. Definitely something you want to look out for. However, even if you're not doing that deck, just the fact that giving all your stuff +1/+1 when this ETBs is really good. I like Oath of Ajani a lot. Okay, then we have Winding Constrictor. So this is, again, another pretty specific card to that counter type deck, but it's interestingly green, black. So if one or more counters would be placed on an artifact or a creature you control, you get that many counters plus 1, which is really awesome. And then if you would get one or more counters, you get that many of those counters plus 1. So like, as long as I'm reading this right, you get double plus 1 of the amount of counters, I'm pretty sure, right? You control that many counters plus 1, or just you add 1. Regardless, you get more plus 1 counters. It's also a 2/3, so it makes it a little bit harder to kill it. You can't shock it, which is really strong, so I think this card in that deck is really cool, and this art is, like, really pretty. The sneak is, like, purple and glowing. It's cool. Okay. Anyways, irrelevant elephants. Okay. So, then we have Outland Board. And I think I like this card. It's, you know, it's a 4-mana 4/4, but it can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less, so it's a weird sort of, like, it kind of reminds me of Menace, like, just a little bit, like, it forces your opponents to block in a weird sort of way. But what I really like about this is that there's a lot of stuff in this set that's, like, small dudes. Like, you know, some sets, like, with the Eldrazi Menace and that whole thing, to me, that set was, like, that block, that whole thing was, like, big things. This, to me, is a card that's, like, you know, this set is to me more like small, really good things, so I think this card is a really solid place in there because, you know, you're gonna cut your opponent off from blocking with their 1/1 servo tokens, yeah, so you can get in with, and it's a 4/4 too, which is pretty good, so I like this card. Then we have Hidden Stockpile. Now, if you've been keeping up with me, you know that enchantments have to be really good to impress me, and this enchantment is really good and very much impresses me. So what I like about it is, you know, some cards you need synergy. Some cards you're like, I need card X and card Y, and card J would be really nice to have in the mix. This card just kind of does everything on its own, which is why I really like it. And that's part of the reason why I think enchantments sometimes are too specific. That's why, like, I'm not a fan of cards that, like, you need this and this and this. You need, like, this list of requirements in order to get this thing off. Because let's be real here, sometimes, especially when you're first drafting a set or you're first playing with the set, it can be really hard to detect those synergies and to be like, wait, this card works with this card. You know, once you get used to the set and you've played with it a lot, it's like, oh, okay, and once you get better at drafting and doing sealed events too. Or you can just be like me and be like, yo, I'm awful at sealed and I'll probably never be good at it, but, sorry, there's a little fuzz on, like, this little pillow thing that I have. Okay, anyways, so the Hidden Stockpile. So it's got Revolt. So if a permanent you control left the battlefield, so I guess it does need, you know, you need to get the Revolt off, so you need to have creatures, but obviously you're going to be running creatures. You get a 1/1 servo token. Now, what's really interesting about this, and what I really like about it, is so you need, like, that first trigger, but then you just have that 1/1. So then once you have that 1/1, you can just immediately sack it and scry 1. So you, like, keep getting dudes to attack in a block with, and then you just keep scrying. Like, this card's nuts. Like, this is such a good card to me. I think it's going to be really good in Limited. I don't know, this is such a sweet card to me. It's like, you keep getting that Revolt trigger off, and I feel like, too, this card can help with other Revolt stuff. Like, you know how some things, like, you know, you need something to leave? Like, this card, like, sets up that whole Revolt thing. So I think this is definitely a really essential card. I definitely wouldn't play, like, more than one of these cards, because you know, but you get Scry if you want to, but you can sack anything you want. Like, you could sack any other creature, and it's only one, and it doesn't tap. So, like, you can immediately keep, you know, sacking your thing, which is awesome. So, I think this card's really sweet. I like it. Okay, then we have Renegade Wheelsmith. I really love cards like this. I love that kind of Boros, really aggressive archetype. So it's a 3-mana 3/2, which I think is sweet, and then it becomes tapped. Target creature can't block. So, boom, it's tapped, gonna tap down your thing, which is really strong. It's super basic, but I like creatures like this. I think it's good. Okay, then we have Tezzeret's Touch. So, you know, I first read the ability on this card, and I was like, enchanted creature artifact is a creature with base power and toughness 5/5, in addition to other types. And I was like, oh, it's like the scissors, like, you know what I'm talking about, that card that it's like the blue, it's like mono blue, and then it's like it's got like the giant scissors on them, and it's like, target artifact, becomes a 5/5, whatever. Some people are playing that in, or some people still do play that in Modern Affinity. But when an enchanted artifact is put into the graveyard, return the artifact to its owner's hand, which is why I think this card is really strong. So not only, you know, do you bump your Ornithopter up, and your Ornithopter is casually a 5/5 flyer for, you know, I mean, for 3 mana, that's awesome, because Ornithopter's free. So on top of that, you know, every time that artifact dies, like, they kill it, or you block with it, or you attack, like, whatever, you just get that card back, which is awesome. So yeah, you lose the enchantment, but it's kind of a weird sort of like totem armor ability, which I think is really interesting. So yeah, I like it. I think, again, it works in this specific artifact deck. Like, you need to have artifacts to make it work, but I do think in that deck it's a sort of weird totem armor ability, which I like, especially if your artifact has an ETB effect. You get that ETB effect when you replay it, which is really sweet. Okay, then we have Rogue Refiner. Card's stupid. Card's just, like, really dumb. I mean, it's a 3 mana 3/2, which is great. ETBs, you draw a card. You could have just stopped it at the draw card, because 3 mana 3/2 ETBs draw a card is just awesome. But on top of that, you gain 2 energy counters. Now, this isn't a, when it, you know, you need to be playing other things with energy counters. I mean, you don't have to be playing the energy counter deck for this card to work. I mean, still, again, drawing a card and then having a really nice body, and then having something that you could potentially, you know, flicker and bounce to your hand or whatever, is really solid, or, you know, have it go to the graveyard and then bring it back to your hand, whatever. Yeah, this is, like, really solid. I like this. I think it's a good body, it's a good card, draws you cards, it helps you with your energy counter synergy. And what I really like about this card too is a lot of those cards that have energy counters, they ETB with an energy counter, and then you, when it attacks, you use those energy counters up, and then there's no real way to get those back unless you get bounce the creature or whatever. But like with something like this, you know, you get those you get the energy counters, and then this card doesn't do anything with the energy counters other than gives them to you. So you use those counters for other abilities, which I think is really strong. Or again, if you just don't want to play with the energy counter strategy, hey Len, listen, do whatever you want. So, okay, then the next is Renegade Rallier. So I'm liking all these 3 mana 3/2s, like I like this whole little like set thing going on there. So, Revolt ETBs. If a permanent left the battlefield, return target permanent with converted mana cost 2 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. This is another busted card. This is so awesome. So, it's like that, you know, you gotta have that Revolt trigger off, you know, to make this card really valuable. But like getting something like a permanent, like you could get your enchantment, you could get your creature, get your removal enchantment. I don't know if there are any that are 2 mana. But anyways, you just get something back from the graveyard, which is really strong. One of the best cards, I think, in this set. I think this card's really, really awesome. I like the recursion. There's a lot of recursion, like casting things for free. Not a recursion, sorry. Casting this for free in the set, which I think makes the set really strong. So, yeah, guys, that was it. That was it for talking about multicolored cards in Aether Revolt. Really impressed. I think the set's really awesome, except for I'm just not a huge fan of the vehicle aspect. That's just not something that I really like. I think, like, it's, you know, it's not something that I feel like we're gonna really see a lot. Like, they're kind of testing it, and they're kind of seeing, but it's not for me. But teach their own. So thanks for taking the time to hang out with me, and I'll talk to you guys later.